Once again, the NASCAR schedule has been released just a little bit early. Credit to Jordan Bianchi, whose article I will put in the description below, who I think the 7th year in a row now, he ended up getting the schedule leaked out. But the 2026 Cup schedule is now out. I'm assuming the Xfinity and truck ones will be soon to follow. So let's break it down. And once again, like I did in my prediction videos, we're going to break it down by network, starting out with the Fox portion of the schedule. This, to me, was the biggest surprise. So, of course, we have Bowman Gray. We have 2 bye weeks, the Super Bowl bye that we normally have, and then Easter, the 5th of April this year. First 5 races, as was reported before, are the same. And then you have Darlington on March 22nd, and then Martinsville before you go into the break. I like both of these. It's kind of bringing them back home after they've been on the road at Daytona and Texas and the West Coast. So I actually really like that. You go to Bristol like they did before. Kansas now gets moved back to April. Now, this is interesting to me, as I remember when it was in April previously, people talked about the weather being an issue. I'm very surprised that they didn't in some way move the Richmond date, or maybe another date that would have been closer to the Carolina base or the Virginia, Tennessee base, anything like that. But Kansas there, honestly, I like that because Bristol's probably going to be a snoozer based on what this year has shown us. And we need something to pick us up before we go to Talladega, which is the same as before. Texas, of course, the same as before. And this is the part that shocked me. Now, we heard about Dover being the all-star race, but Watkins Glen being this early in the season, I admit I'm puzzled. I'm puzzled by it being this early. I have to imagine maybe Fox wanted another road course and they wanted to spread maybe the road courses out a bit more. And having Watkins Glen be May 10th can do that. It would definitely be an interesting way if the race is anything like 2024 to end off the Fox portion. They'll stay in the Northeast with Watkins Glen and then Dover, and you go from there. But I got to admit, this one is just puzzling to me. The Watkins Glen crowd on the traditional summer August date has been insanely good over the last 10, 15 years or so. So then we go to Prime. Now, Prime, I believe I nailed with my predictions. I might have flipped 2 of them, like Pocono and Michigan, but we knew the 600 would be Memorial Day weekend. It's earlier in the month this year. Nashville, I felt pretty confident in that coming back. Sounds like, at least from the local area, that it sounded like it would be the same weekend. Michigan, right before Pocono, right after Nashville. Those all fit perfect. Then San Diego, we already knew was announced for June 21st. One thing you'll notice so far, just like in 2025, there are no Saturday night races when it comes to the schedule this far into the summer. And I hate to say it for y'all that love your Saturday night races, but that's going to continue with TNT. So we get the TNT portion of the year here. Sonoma follows up San Diego. I predicted this as well. It just makes logistical sense. It makes complete sense that Sonoma and San Diego would be back-to-back. There's been rumors, as well as they announced with San Diego, that it'd be Xfinity trucks with them. You don't want to have that extra travel on the lower series teams, especially just because they can't shoulder that much of it. So you'll probably keep them both on the West Coast during this string. I think it's a smart move, and yeah, we'll have our back-to-back road courses again this year. Chicagoland, July 4th weekend. It will be on Sunday. I know a lot of people are trying to push for it to be Saturday night, July 4th. I'm sorry, that's just marketing suicide when it comes to putting a race on and having people actually watch it. Go back and look at the 4th of July TV ratings for 2009 Daytona Summer Race, and it was down even compared to years that were way down in total with viewership. You just don't do that in America, especially Chicagoland. It would not stand a chance against 4th of July fireworks across the country. Atlanta is Sunday the next week. Whether it's Sunday night or not, we don't know. There are no start times with this. So a lot of these could be Sunday night races. I know a lot of people have talked about Chicagoland possibly being a Sunday night race. I think that would be the smart play personally. You let everyone sort of have their hangovers wash off them over the day, or maybe just feed back into them after the 4th of July night. You give a little bit of that buffer area for people to actually do stuff in the area, as well as drivers, maybe North Wilkesboro as well. We were, again, pretty spot on with my prediction. I think of this entire piece of the schedule again. The summer stretch, I think, was relatively predictable of how they'd make it go out to be. But Atlanta, right in the middle of it. They're having a huge push with the in-season tournament, and this would, again, push right on into that no matter what. I mean, you would have to have it be someplace later than the start. I know they wanted to kick off the start with a super speedway, with their hometown race for TNT and Turner, but it just does not make sense if you're wanting to make the in-season tournament something that you can really market forward. And of course, it closes out with the Brickyard, July the 26th. Again, pretty predictable for the most part. The interesting part comes with NBC. So we get another bye week on the 2nd of August. Now, there's been rumors from local Canadian media that maybe Montreal could get around that time with Xfinity trucks, but there's nothing concrete that's been put on it. We'll probably find out once this stuff gets leaked out more. But we get a double whammy of short tracks. We get Iowa on Sunday. Richmond follows it up, another Saturday night race, so they keep it on Saturday night. But at that, it's not going to be right before Daytona, which I have to admit, I kind of like it this year being right before Daytona. It gives us a freed up Sunday to do stuff with, but it is what it is with that. I understand why they would move it around. They have New Hampshire now out of the playoffs again, August 23rd, second to last race of the regular season. This, of course, is with the idea that the NASCAR playoffs should probably stay the same as they are now, and you can kind of see how the playoffs are set up. It does seem like it's going to go that way. And, of course, the Daytona regular season finale, August 29th, to finish off the summer. Labor Day has moved back a bit this weekend. This year's actually, it's more moved up. It's going back to normal next year, and that's where the Southern 500 opens things up. First round stays the same. And to be honest, I like this because Gateway being set in St. Louis is smart with the marketing side of things. St. Louis is one of the few major cities in America that does not have a pro football team, or at least an NFL football team. Honestly, those other leagues really aren't all that pro. So it makes sense to try and sell it out. It makes sense to try and get the market on TV in the local area to watch on opening weekend of the NFL, unless they change it to an 18-game schedule soon or move the date up or whatever they do. But it makes sense, again, to have them there. Generally, the races have been pretty good, honestly. And granted, I've been at them, so maybe my scores are inflated with it. But I've liked the Gateway races so far since it's come to Cup. And it makes sense. And then, of course, Bristol being that last Saturday night race of the year. So basically, in a 1 month span, we have 3 Saturday night races. We had a night race in Darlington, and maybe they could even do a Sunday night race on USA for Gateway if it's too hot. I know that place is scorching when the sun hits it, but that makes sense. Kansas is going to end off the month of September, start out the second round. Now, what I'm interested is Las Vegas moving to the middle of the round of 12. This one is another one that kind of puzzles me logistics-wise, because look at how the schedule is set up here. You have Vegas, the Roval comes back to end the second round, and then you go to Phoenix after that. Now, Phoenix, it makes sense to keep late in the year. I know people don't like it, but it's going to be part of that championship rotation. You want to have it late in the year. I really don't understand having Vegas and Charlotte where they are. I think you could probably swap those and just keep the teams on the West Coast for a mini West Coast swing with Las Vegas and Phoenix. Last 3 races stay the same: Talladega, Martinsville, Homestead. And I know a lot of people said it with the 2025 schedule. They're going to say it again with Talladega being this late in, especially if we keep the same kind of format, or if we have a 3-race championship round. We're going to have a lot of people questioning this. And the reason is they want to keep Talladega on NBC. They're more than likely, again, going to have 4 races on big NBC and then 10 on USA. Now, you got to keep Daytona on NBC. It's a huge ratings draw. It'll probably be NBC's most watched race of the year, let's be honest. Talladega is another one that's going to be really high up there. In 2024, a lot of people watch that one. You would want to get the biggest audience possible to lead into the last 2 races. Then you got Martinsville where it's at. And Homestead, I should say. We don't keep it the same, but Homestead will be the finale like announced beforehand. There's things I like about this schedule. There are. I really like, you know, the summer stretch here. The prime side, I love the way that the prime races are. For the most part, they didn't have to change things outside of swapping San Diego and Mexico. San Diego being on Father's Day, just like Mexico was. I wholeheartedly agree with that, and I think that's the right way to go about it. I really like the TNT portion of the year. Sonoma being right after makes a ton of sense. I'm cool going back-to-back road courses, especially if they can make the racing a little better. Of course, I'm a stand for Chicagoland. I have a damn tear in my eye every time somebody brings up it's on the schedule. If I hadn't known going in, I'd probably get all emotional about it, being somebody who went from 07 to 2019. I like it land in the middle. Wilkesboro getting a points race is a huge deal. So I like those portions. It's the Fox and the NBC side I just don't get. Again, like I brought up, the mini West Coast swing makes sense on the NBC side. And on top of that, do we really need the Roval at this point? Like, can't we just go back to the Charlotte Oval? It is arguably the best track with the next gen car. It's right up there with Kansas. I just think we could totally have an entire round with 1.5 miles and nobody would be upset anymore. We have reached that point because it's the best racing in NASCAR where everyone would like that. So that's the question I have with that. New Hampshire being moved out, I'm honestly okay with. I'm not really a big fan of New Hampshire racing, especially in this generation of car. So I don't mind that. Everything else I'm all right with. The Fox portion's the one that just puzzles me, and just the Watkins Glen Dover part. You couldn't go to any other SMI track. We couldn't, figure something out to not go to Dover. And Watkins Glen being that early in the year, I'm not hating it. I would like to see it in practice, but man, it's going to be weird seeing it that early in the year. When I've seen it my entire life as a fan, August, and then like 1 year in September. So I'm questioning some of those, but in all honesty, I'd probably give this schedule about a B-. I think there weren't really as many substantial changes, and especially since we really learned about those changes weeks and months ago. But again, it could be a lot worse. We still had some pretty good changes, in my opinion. I'm excited for San Diego. I'm excited for Chicagoland. And I'm excited to see what the Xfinity and Truck Series guys are going to be doing, what their standalone dates will be, whether it's Montreal, whether it's Canadian Tire or Lime Rock or any of those other ones that you might be thinking of. I'm very curious to see what all of those will be moving forward. But with that, I want to know what you think. Let me know down in the comments below your thoughts on the 2026 NASCAR schedule. Do you like it? Do you loathe it? Are you in the middle? Or are you just waiting for the big changes that are pretty certain to come in 2027? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're at it, leave a like on this video, share this video, and subscribe to this channel for more great and fun NASCAR content. Thank you so much to all my channel members for your continued support. And until next time, have a good one.